We'll be out of here in 2 weeks, tops, Levi said, raising his coffee mug as if it were a signed contract. I slapped mine down against his. I'm Evelyn. I'm 31, a claims examiner with Ridgeview Mutual, and I live in the third-floor apartment of Maple Court Apartments, a 12-unit red brick apartment complex on the east side of town. My apartments are 2-bedroom, 1 bath, the kind of place where you practice neatly piling things or tripping over them. I've lived there 3 years. The guest room's usually half office, half guest bedroom. On October 1st, it was my brother's crash pad. Levi's 29, all shoulders, good intentions and last-minute apologies. His wife Caitlin is 28, the type of person who could host a cooking show out of a shoebox. When they arrived, Caitlin rolled up in a suitcase that matched her manicure and looked around like she was critiquing the set of a home renovation show. "Ev, this neighborhood is cute," she said, "like I personally designed the cracked sidewalks." Touched the knife block. "Oh, these knives are great," spun a slow circle. "I just love your cozy, minimalistic space," which in Caitlin speak meant small. Their lease was up September 30th, and the new place they were looking to relocate into wasn't ready yet. Some floor hold up. 2 weeks, Levi repeated, gesturing toward the calendar I keep on the fridge. I grabbed my red dry erase marker and wrote Octoinila 1, Oct 14, L plus N plus K. I even added a smiley face. Humor prevents me from grinding my teeth. I oriented them to their shelf in the fridge, left them the extra keys in the bowl near the door, and instructed them on the 1 pair of shoes rule by the door because I like being able to view my floor. Levi hugged me and whispered in my hair, "Thanks, Evie." He still calls me that when he needs something. "We'll be out of your hair by the 14th, I promise." "Welcome," I lied, trying to sound like the calm, together sister that I am faking to be. That night, Mum called. "You're a good sister," she said, skipping hello altogether. "They just need a soft place to land." "I know," I said, resting back against the oven, watching as the steam vaporized my mug. 2 weeks, at the most. Saying the words aloud had made them sound convincing. My rent is month to month. Cameron, my landlord, is that rare kind of human being who actually responds to emails and hires professionals, unheard of in this economy. My utilities are all in my name: electric, water, internet. I even have the bills listed on a sticky note under a teeny tiny lemon magnet on my fridge. I like order, and all was well at first. Levi carried my old printer into the closet without being asked and took the trash out twice. Caitlin lit a candle, having asked permission first, and offered to cook pasta in my good pot as if it hung around waiting to be used by her. She even moved my coffee tin to a shelf that was lower, to make mornings easier. I moved it back the next day because my mornings were already fine. "You'll love it this way," she said cheerfully, rearranging my baking sheets like she was alphabetizing my soul. I showed them the laundry room, the basement dryer that eats quarters, and labelled a pantry shelf. Levi and Caitlin, snacks. I wanted it to be easy to stay, easy to leave. At work, my friend Grace, same age, meme-based sense of humour, chuckled when I said doing the noble sister thing. 2 weeks, I said around lunch bites, crunching on a carrot stick that had had the flavour of homework. "Get it in writing," she teased. I said we'd toasted with mugs and we both laughed. There were 2 more coats in the hallway, a yoga mat at the door, and a dish box. I had no idea what it was for sitting on the dining table until we figure out where to put them. I turned the calendar around so the dates were facing out again. By day 12, I came home and saw the calendar facing the back. Into the wall. "Oh, that," Caitlin said, slicing an apple with my paring knife. The whiteboard was reflecting off my video call. It was blinding. I flipped it around. Dates are not a request when you're paying rent. I justified I was being generous, not stupid. I repeated those words the next morning when I discovered my coffee moved again. By week 3, my pantry no longer looked like my pantry. The cumin now towered between coriander and curry powder, all lined up in little rows, labels facing out. My coffee tin had been displaced by a canister of steel-cut oats I don't even buy. "Surprise reset," Caitlin called out, poking her head around the pantry door. "You'll love it this way, so streamlined." She'd turned my pantry into a display. Canned beans piled in trophy formation, pasta by category. My peanut butter was now residing on the top shelf, and the tape that said Levi and Caitlin Snacks had been removed and stuck sideways onto a box of tea. "It looks different," I said, setting down my bag. Caitlin laughed, a light and easy sound. "You had multiples of cumin, did you know? And your baking soda was living together with the olive oil. Madness." She positioned a jar with 2 fingers. "I put your coffee there so it's not in the way." "In the way of what?" I grabbed it from her. "Breakfast flow," she said, as if it was a philosophy. Levi came in carrying a box, grinning as if he was trying to read how angry I was. "Don't freak out. It's awesome. We're just making things simpler. 2 more boxes in the car. Just plates, I swear." "Just plates," I repeated. "Just until we move," he rushed. "Good news, though. We're near final. Flooring's nearly complete. Should have a move-in date by Friday. Friday was 2 days away. 2 days now that we have it down on the calendar." But I nodded regardless. "Okay." Caitlin washed an apple as if she owned the faucet. "I'll reorganize the drawers tomorrow. Your spatulas are missing." "They're in the 3rd drawer," I told her. "For now," she hummed. She made pasta again for dinner that night. Levi told a story about some guy at his old job who microwaved fish in the break room and was never let live. We chuckled because that's what siblings do. It's easier to say than put things back where they go. I wiped the counters clean, returned dish soap to under the sink, and relocated my coffee tin out front of the shelf quietly. In the morning, it was gone again, hidden behind chia seeds this time. I boiled water anyway. "Oh, did that budge?" Caitlin asked, blowing past me to reorganize the tea. "I made overnight oats if you're interested." "I'm fine," I said. "Can we just leave my coffee where I left it?" "Totally," she said, code for not really. Levi strolled in wearing my college hoodie. "Morning, Ev. You okay?" "Yeah," I said, "just looking for things." He opened the wrong cabinet. "We're out of paper towels. Have you seen them?" "Under the sink," I said. We all played That's Where They'd Always Been. Work was like a vacation. My stapler stays put. I sent Grace a picture of my alphabetized set of spices and wrote, "Is this normal, or am I in a home edit episode I didn't sign up for?" She returned 5 giggling emojis and the word breathe. I returned home to a new plant on the windowsill and an eucalyptus-scented candle. On Caitlin's cheerful handwriting was a note that said, "Move oils to cool side. Don't worry, your coffee is safe." It wasn't. The tin remained on a lower shelf, centered with precision like a display piece among the herbal teas. The pantry was beautiful, but I stood there, keys in hand, feeling like a guest putting hands into someone else's cupboard. That night, Levi texted, "Some friends stopping by later." "You okay?" I replied. "What time? Quiet by 10, please." He wrote, 7-ish. "Just a couple people, we'll bring snacks." At 7:20, 4 strangers came into my living room with a 12-pack and 1 bag of tortilla chips. Caitlin came along behind me, smiling like a hostess at a housewarming party. "Guys, this is Evelyn," she said, as though I was the neighbor and not the woman who had bought the couch they were sitting on. I smiled. "Coasters on the coffee table, shoes at the door, bathroom down the hall. After 10 p.m, keep it down, please." "Of course," Caitlin said. They were. All right, loud, but all right. Someone took my Bluetooth speaker. Someone else opened the pantry and said, "Wow, goals." A mustachioed guy spilled beer and used half a roll of my paper towels to clean it up. My cheese disappeared. The blender came out. Margaritas, I guess. At 9:58, I got up, smiling. 2-minute warning. Levi patted me on the shoulder. "All right, people, wrap it up. Work night." They left at 10:15. Caitlin stacked a few cups in the sink, left a gentle kiss just below my cheek, and growled, "We'll do the rest tomorrow morning. You're the best." The next morning, the counters were sticky lime. The trash was lined with cans. No paper towels. I like to start the day tidy, so I cleaned. At lunch, I stopped to pick up more provisions. Paper towels, dish soap, eggs, coffee. The cost was $41.38. That night, I jotted it down in a phone note. L plus N plus K, overages, $41.38, and I taped the receipt under the lemon magnet. A simple reminder. Because I like to keep things neat. 2 of my same friends came by that weekend when I was gone. I knew because the windowsill plant had moved towards the light, and my good olive oil was clearly lighter. When I texted Levi to ask if all was well, he sent a thumbs up emoji. "All good, just hanging. We'll replace whatever." They did, eventually, with a different brand that smelled like new mown grass. I stuck $12.99 in my note anyway, as I needed to go buy my brand again. By October, the apartment was tight, even at quiet times. The spare room door stayed half open, humming with some show playing non-stop. Towels piled up on the back of the bathroom door. My laundry basket doubled as a popular suggestion box. I opened the fridge twice and couldn't find my yogurt, lodged behind 3 jars of hummus and someone else's food. Then, on the 3rd of November, my inbox glowed with the electricity bill. I opened it as I leaned against the counter. The number made my stomach drop. 394.22's my average is roughly 76. 318 more, I said aloud, because in some way numbers sound more real when spoken. 2 days subsequent, the water bill arrived, 180.37. Typically it's 34, up by 146. I took a photo of both bills, added up the figures in my note, then browsed through my receipts. Paper towels, dish soap, eggs, coffee that vanished quicker than I could drink it. The sum under groceries hit $205 before I stopped. That night, after dinner, I asked tentatively, "Hey, can we talk about the bills?" Electricity and water are astronomical. I wrote down some extra groceries too. Levi stopped mid-fork on his way to his mouth, then set it down. "Totally. We'll Venmo you Friday." "I get paid Friday," I said. Caitlin leaned her head and smiled, the kind of gentle smile from a lotion commercial. "Can't we just count it all together? We're just about ready to move. It's easier." "I'd rather get it over with," I said. "It's a lot." Levi leaned forward and squeezed my shoulder. His go-to "please don't be mad" trick. "Friday," he said again. "Promise." I nodded and scooted back from the table because cleaning fills my hands. The next morning at the office, I copied the utility emails, brought them home, and stuck the raises on a stick note in block letters. Power, plus 318 water, plus 146 groceries, plus heat 5. I taped it under the lemon magnet, receipts behind it. Friday, no Venmo. At lunchtime, I texted Levi the sum, included a smiley to make it friendly. He answered 3 hours later. "Running late today. Can I hit you Monday?" Caitlin liked the heart message. Monday flew by in a whirl of windshield claims and meetings. I came home, and on the counter was a note in Caitlin's bubbly handwriting. "Borrowed your mixer. Banana bread incoming. No Venmo." I stood in front of the fridge, staring at the neat little stack of proof, and smoothed the sticky note so it lay even and square. The note and receipts were both disappeared by Wednesday morning. The only thing that was left was the lemon magnet stuck to a clean white fridge door. I just stood there for a moment with the fridge open, cold air on my knees. Then I glanced around the edges of the fridge, the counter, the junk drawer. None of these objects had it. I opened the recycling lid and closed it again. I couldn't do it and dig through coffee grounds from morning. I messaged Levi. "Did you move the receipts and sticky note from the fridge?" 5 minutes later. "Ah, yeah, Caitlin tidied up. Was messy. We still have them, don't worry." "Where?" I asked. "Drawer beside the stove, or maybe the folder on the bookshelf. We tidied out things last night." I checked both. "Drawer? Oven mitt, a whisk, a spoon rest. Bookshelf. Cookbooks, a plant not mine, a stack of mail. No folder. My tongue tasted like pennies. I brewed tea, set out 3 cups and said, "Mind if we sit 5 minutes?" In the same firm voice, I must deny a claim no one once denied. Levi sat as though he were sitting down to TV time. Caitlin smiled when she sat, hands folded neatly, like this was a polite meeting. "I need a firm move-out date," I said, "and we need to pay the bills. Power and water just went through the roof." Caitlin tilted her head again. "We were going to Venmo Friday. We're getting to it." "It's Wednesday," I said. "Last Friday went by. I'm not being obstinate. There's a lot. Power's an extra 318s, water an extra 146, groceries about $200. Levi let out a sigh, then put a hand on my shoulder. We're near. Property manager said Friday for certain. They're just waiting for the last unit to move out so they can finish the flooring. Can you wait? 1 week more and we're out. Promise." Caitlin also sighed, all in soft disappointment. "You're making this strained," she whispered, the kind of not unkind that stings more. "We're grateful, really. It's just spreadsheets on the fridge are a stress trigger." "That was my bill," I said to him, "on my fridge." She looked at Levi. "We didn't get rid of anything," she said. "Then where is it?" "We'll find it," Levi said quickly. "We'll get you the cash Friday. We're not trying to exploit." "Okay," I said quietly. "A specific day, please." "Next Wednesday," Levi said like he'd just invented it. "We'll be away by then." Caitlin had nodded. "Yes, next Wednesday." "Okay," I'd repeated because saying even that much would be too loud. Caitlin had risen first. "You want me to run a load of towels?" "I've got it," I replied. They went back into the spare bedroom. The soft hum of their show continued. I washed 3 clean mugs because movement felt preferable to stillness. Then my phone beeped. "Mom." "Hello, honey," Faith said, her voice as warm as a blanket. "Levi called me, said you were upset. What's going on?" "I asked for a move-out date," I told her, "and for them to split utilities. The bills are completely out of hand." "Oh, sweetheart," her tone softened the way it did when bread had burned. "They just need a place to land safely. You know Levi. He doesn't like confrontation. Be patient just a little bit longer." "I've been patient," I said. "It was only going to be 2 weeks." "I know," she replied. "You're the reliable one, Evie. That's why you can do it. Next Wednesday isn't so far away. Can you give them that?" I looked at the empty fridge door. Only the lemon magnet stuck to nothing. "Okay," I told myself, though my gut did not agree. "1 more week." "You're a good sister," Faith said, relieved. "I'll tell them to be grateful." We hung up, and the apartment felt tight, in a way that no amount of Lysol could fix. Grace texted a minute later. "How's the roommate dynamic, roomie?" I took a photo of the fridge and sent it to her. She replied immediately. "You're not losing your mind. Write it all down." So I wrote it down. I opened my laptop, made a folder called Plan B, and drew in screenshots of the bills, text messages with Levi, and a plain timeline. OCT 1, move in, Oct 14, end date scheduled, Nov 3, electrical spike, Nov 5, water spike, Nov 6 and 9, no Venmo, Nov 11, receipts deleted. And then I titled a blank page, agreement draft. Didn't finish it yet. I even took pictures of the pantry and living room, not because anything was actually illegal, but because it made me feel like I still had a record of what changed. Thursday, Caitlin found the receipts in the hall closet. "Weird," she said, putting them on the counter without glancing at me. Late Thursday, Levi texted, "Hard week, sorry." Monday. I didn't reply. I simply closed my laptop and shoved the lemon magnet into the drawer so I couldn't see it any longer. Next Wednesday arrived. Nothing moved. Their coats still on hooks, yoga mats still in hallway, the show still humming behind a half-closed door. I stood there and said, "What's the plan?" "We're trying to figure it out," Levi said. "Just a couple more days." "Okay," I said, because by then I knew no one was really hearing. Then Thanksgiving arrived. Morning dawned with the smell of brine. I'd thawed the turkey 4 days, dried it the night before, and put it into a stock pot with salt, citrus, and bay leaves, just as I always do. The oven signaled. I retrieved my recipes, placed the cutting board where I like it, next to the sink. We'd planned weeks ago, when the calendar still meant something, that I would entertain this year. Faith's condo is comfortable, but my dining table seats 6 if you don't mind bumping knees. Levi and Caitlin offered to help with the menu. Their help arrived at 9:30 a.m., apron tied on with the words Caitlin scrawled in cursive script. "Chef's here," she trilled, pushing her hair behind her ears. "Ev, that bird is gorgeous. I'll wrap things up. You take care of the kids." There were kids, because Caitlin had invited over her friend Alyssa, Ben, Alyssa's husband, and their 2 children. "They don't have any relatives here in town," Caitlin told me yesterday. "It's just 2 more plates." I looked at my table, chair counted, and said, "Okay." Because no was a word I hadn't uttered in a while. One of the kids screamed from the living room, "The parade's starting." Faith stopped by with a store-bought pie on a plate, kissed me on the cheek and said, "Smells wonderful, honey." I was basting the turkey when Caitlin edged between me and the oven, smiling. "Shoo," she said playfully, wiggling her fingers. "Sit down. I've got this. Levi, assist me with the charcuterie." Aunt Jen and cousins Rachel and Julia giggled. I grinned, because you do that when you're teased in your own kitchen. I sat down at the table, helping one of the children to make hand turkeys on printer paper. From the sofa, Faith cried out, "Let her play chef once, Evie. You do everything." In the kitchen, Caitlin acted as if for the camera. She reorganized my knives, yelled out substitutions in the middle of a recipe. "We're roasting the Brussels with balsamic, not maple," she announced. My soy sauce crept to the left 1 inch. Levi wandered from room to room, snapping pictures, pouring wine, and trying to look useful. Ben asked, "Where do you want me to put the green beans?" "Anywhere," I said. Caitlin cut in smoothly. "Counter. Thanks, I'll plate." When I stood up to fill the water pitcher, she smiled and wiggled her fingers again. "You sit with the kids," she said to me. "I've got this." It was my stovetop, my knives, my house. I sat anyway, between 2 children, crumpling paper boats, pretending that was enough. At 2 we ate. The turkey was fantastic since I'd done the prep, and Caitlin had put the finishing touches on it. Faith squeezed my hand under the table and said to Caitlin, "You really know how to host." As if all of this hadn't been added to my utilities and a month-to-month lease. We cleared the plates, and by we I mean everyone except me. I sat while they started stacking dishes. Levi and Caitlin went back and forth in the kitchen, washing dishes, filling the dishwasher the wrong way, and I just smiled at Ariana's colouring instead. It was as if choosing stillness on purpose. Pie showed up at 4, pumpkin, from the store, sitting atop my cake stand. I ate my slice, told Alyssa her green beans were delicious, and didn't take the sponge when plates clattered. The sink became full. The faucet was running. I pulled out a crayon and dated my turkey drawing. 11:28. When Alyssa's family left, the apartment fell silent. In that way, silence had a deep presence. Faith hugged Caitlin and said, "Lovely." She hugged me and said, "Thank you for opening the way." She didn't stay to clean. She never does. Caitlin sighed, braced herself against the counter, and said, "We did it." Like we'd finished a project. Levi opened the dishwasher and toyed with 2 plates, like that had fixed it. "That was better," he said. "Good to have people." "Yeah," I said. I folded up my recipe sheets in tidy piles and dried my cutting board. Caitlin shifted the soy sauce over 1 inch to the left without realizing it, then tensed when she noticed me look at it. "I'm taking a walk," I stated, and put my coat on. Outside, the air hurt, the kind that gets your head working. I circled around the block and encountered Rose as she came out with a basket of rolls in her hands. "Full house today," she said, cocking an eyebrow. "Yeah." "Good grub." "Mm-hmm." She didn't say anything else. She didn't have to. When I came back, the dishwasher hummed, TV was off, and their whispers were muffled behind the door to the spare bedroom. I sat down in my desk chair and pulled out a manila envelope from the drawer, the one I'd been secretly working on for weeks. Inside, my most recent 2 pay stubs, a printed 30-day notice form, and a list with the heading, Things I Control. Across the top of an empty page, I wrote, "No more arguments, just dates." I sealed the envelope, planted it in my work bag, and turned off the kitchen light with my elbow. The envelope accompanied me to work the day after Thanksgiving. On my break, I filled out the 30-day notice. End date, December 31st. I signed it, scanned it, and sent it to Cameron. Subject line, Notice to Vacate, Unit 3C, 1231. I placed the hard copy in the office slot at lunchtime and took a photo of my hand putting it in. Date stamped, just in case. Saturday, I toured a studio apartment I'd bookmarked on a sleeplessness-induced night. Second floor of a brick 4-square, 3 tall windows, wood floors that squeaked when you walked. The manager, a reserved woman named Lya, said to me, "First availables January 1st. "Great," I said. I handed her the envelope, application, ID, pay stubs, drove home on way back and stopped at the hardware store and tossed a tape gun and a banker's box set into my shopping cart. Monday morning, Cameron replied, "Received notice. Lease is terminating 12/31. Javier will start work at 12:15 to repair paint. Leave keys on counter both." Exactly the way I'd hoped it to read. I opened tabs, the same tabs I have opened for other people in the office, and this time reserved them on my behalf. Power off 12:31 noon, water end of day 12:31, internet cancel 12:31. I printed out the confirmations and labelled a new folder, Move Out. Wednesday at lunch, I saw Lya again. We signed the lease, move in on January 1st. She gave me the keys receipt and said, "We'll have it ready at 9 a.m. The air hung heavy with the smell of primer and new beginnings. Quietly at home, I started packing. When Levi and Caitlin were gone, I packed the books, out-of-season clothing, and pots that I did not use daily. Rose caught me carrying one down the corridor and burst into her room without knocking. "Finally!" she exclaimed, holding the door open for me. "Thanks," I panted. She grinned, pressed a roll of tape into my hand, and said, "About time." Not harshly. I stacked boxes against my bedroom wall so the apartment would still look as if it was occupied. I took photos of all the rooms, not for evidence, but for peace. That night, after they retired, I composed a short 1-page notice on my computer. Utilities XP nurses 12:31, rent XP is 12:31, Cameron walkthrough at noon, Javier at 12:15, all out and keys on counter by noon. If not, I'll take in small claims with itemized invoices and photos. Power plus 318, water plus 146, groceries 205, total $669. If keys are received by noon on 12:31, I'll refund the $669. Grace texted me back after I sent her a picture. Chef's kiss. Bold the dates. So I bolded the dates. Then I made 3 copies, one to place on the fridge, one to file in my folder, one just in case. I kept packing. Socks were rolled, bowls nested. Half my trunk was packed by Sunday morning. Rose caught me grabbing another box and whispered, "Those are the parts that stick." She wasn't wrong. I laid it all out on the kitchen table that night. The printed contract, the confirmations, Cameron's email. I labelled 12:15 in large marker so I would not have to look again. I turned off the lights and left the lemon magnet behind in the drawer. The next morning, I taped the papers to the fridge and made coffee. I sat at the table and waited. Levi stepped out first, hair still flattened from sleeping. He looked at the top sheet, read the underlined sentence regarding keys by noon, and blinked. He started. Caitlin came in behind him, apron wrapped around her arm. Her gaze landed on the paper. Her tone was harder. "You can't be serious." "I am," I said to him, serene. "This is my move out. Lease expires today. Power shuts off at noon. Water by end of day. Internet's been cancelled. Cameron's coming to get me at 12. Levi pushed his hair back. "Where are we going to go?" "I have no idea," I said. "But I'm not your landing pad anymore. Keys by noon and I'll drop the $669. After that, I file." Caitlin gave a quick, disbelieving laugh. "You ambushed us." "I gave notice a month ago," I clarified. "I asked for a plan. I paid for electricity, for food, everything. I'm not negotiating anymore. It's dates." She looked at Levi. "We just need 2 days." "I can't hold it over," I explained. "Cameron's booked. Javier's in. I'm out of here at noon." Levi sighed. "Okay," he said finally. "We'll pack." They packed fast after that, the sort of fast that runs out when the clock does. He piled up shoes and dragged boxes downstairs. Caitlin ironed, pulled everything sticky from my serving dishes, and jammed it into her purse. The apartment grew smaller by the minute. At 11:43, Grace texted, "You got this." I texted a check mark and face down on my phone. Faith called at 11:50. I sent her to voicemail. Her transcript popped up on my screen. "Honey, Levi says you're terminating the lease today. Can we discuss?" Hold out a little longer. I put my phone in my bag. "Later," I told myself. "I'll call later." Caitlin leaned against the fridge, a single fingernail tapping the paper. "The small claims thing is a lot." "It's not threatening if it's true," I said to him. "I've put it in writing. I'll waive it if the keys are down by noon." Levi came back, jacket jingling, box under his elbow. He looked at the clock. 11:56. On the tail of noon, there was a knock. Cameron's knock, 3 even knocks. He stood in the doorway, clipboard in hand, every line of him tidy. "Morning," he said, scanning the counters, the boxes, the tape notice on the fridge. "Got your email. We're set for the walkthrough at 12. Javier's in the hall." Behind him, Javier nodded, tool bag at his feet. Caitlin straightened like she was about to host. Cameron raised a hand, calm and professional. "As soon as Evelyn transfers ownership at midday," he told her in a soothing tone, "maintenance begins. Cut-offs today. If you—" And that is where the novel ends, because some conclusions don't bang home, they just slip softly shut. The sound of a key on the counter, the soft click of a door that's yours once more. Cameron's tone was even. "If you have to make any pickups after that, you'll need to coordinate with the office." Not personal at all, purely regulation. Levi looked at me, then at Cameron, then at the keys in the bowl by the door. The clock on the microwave clicked over to 11:58. He picked up the spare set, then the originals I'd lent them in October, held them like a coin he didn't want to spend, then placed them on the counter. The sound was small and final. Caitlin's hand stayed on the back of a chair a second too long, knuckles white. Then she grabbed her tote and slipped her arm through the handles. She didn't meet my eyes. "We'll figure it out," she said to him. It was no apology. "I'm forgiving the $669, I said to him. "Good luck." Levi squeezed my shoulder quickly, our old way, and let his hand go. "Thanks, Ev," he said, his voice strained. They walked past Cameron and Javier down the corridor. Cameron came in, checked out the stove, the windows, the bathroom. While he made some notes, I took my own keys off my ring and put them beside Levi's. Noon rolled around again. The apartment was different instantly, like a held breath let out. "All ready, Javier?" Cameron called out. 15 minutes, Javier said to no one in specific. I took my last box, the one containing my coffee can and lemon refrigerator magnet, and followed Cameron to the door. It closed with a click behind us. The hallway smelled of cold and paint. The apartment opposite ours finally let out a breath for the first time in 8 weeks. Laya met me outside the fourplex at 9 sharp, with a brief smile and a ring of 2 keys. "Hot water's on low and paint's dry," she said, holding the door ajar. "Happy New Year." "Happy New Year," I replied, and stepped into my studio. It smelled of paint and cold. The old wooden floor creaked under my shoes. 3 tall windows occupied one wall, a square of pale sky beyond them. I set the box on the counter and exhaled that didn't make it onto anyone else's calendar. The night before, I'd slept on Grace's sofa, my suitcase and the box with my coffee tin and lemon magnet. She handed over a blanket and didn't make a big deal out of it. "You did it," she'd said, as if it were a fact. And in the morning, she pushed a travel mug into my hand. "Go get your keys." Now I had them. I opened a cabinet and selected a shelf for my coffee, second from the top to the right of the mugs, and put the tin there. Left it where I left it. I hung my coat in the closet on cedar hangers that I'd bought on sale. The odour made the room smell fresher than it did. I pushed my suitcase under the window and put a box labelled books next to it. The pile looked like a nightstand if you blinked. 2 trips from the car, and 2 more, slow, careful. The stairs were tiny. A guy from the apartment downstairs went by once, nodded. "Hi," he said. "Thanks," I said. By lunch, I had a bed frame propped against the wall and a mattress remaining in its plastic packaging. I opened a box and put my plates away in the cabinet, 2 at a time. I removed the lemon magnet from my pocket, held it for a moment, and stowed it away in the drawer that Liar's takeout menus had occupied. I tore a blue painter's tape strip, marked January budget with a Sharpie, and wrote rent, power, water, groceries, gas. I stuck it to the fridge and pressed the corners down. My phone vibrated. "Mum." "Hi, honey," I said. My tone was soft, worried. "I don't like how yesterday went down." I checked my coffee tin, right where I'd put it. "I didn't like the way it was going for me," I said. Remained calm. "I know," she said, softer. "I just hate tension." Levi sounded shaken. "I'm not punishing anyone," I said. "I just ended my lease." "You're a good sister," she said after a moment. "I love you." "I love you too," I said. "I'm fine." As soon as I hung up, I texted Rose, a photo of the empty corner at Maple Court, then one of my new windows. "Appreciate the door holds," I typed. She responded with a "and about time." Levi's text came mid-afternoon, a thumbs up standing alone and we'll make it work. Took a second, waiting for the ask that didn't come. Typed back, "take care." He liked it, no apology, no promise, just space, where a favour once was. I stopped at the corner store for basics: bread, eggs, milk, a little plant in a plastic sleeve on the counter. The green looked like hope. "New place?" the clerk said, looking at my keys. "Yeah," I said, "first day." Up there, I filled a glass and watered the plant until the dirt was dark, placed it on the sill. I scrambled eggs in my one pan and dined on an inverted box, which would be a nightstand one day when I found a screwdriver. The apartment was filled with the kind of quiet that is not empty. You can hear your own fork, your own breath. The heat came on. The tape on the fridge remained. I put my receipts in the drawer by the lemon magnet and did not affix anything to the door. I opened the window 1 inch and let in a slice of chill. I texted Grace a picture of my table. She responded, "Fancy, proud of you." As the sun set, I made the bed and tore the plastic off the mattress, put my lamp on the stack of books and turned it on, plugged my phone in, activated the Do Not Disturb, walked through the single room like a house. The floor creaked a little by the closet. The bathroom fan clattered when I turned it on. The stovetop tilted left, placed a wrinkled card beneath the front right foot until it was even. Before I went to bed, I opened my laptop and moved the Plan B folder to a new one named Done. I didn't destroy it. Didn't need to. I washed my mug, put it next to the coffee machine, and put the tin where my hand would find it automatically. There would be work, boxes, and an early morning walk to get to know my block. Tonight, though, there was nothing but silence, and a plant having a long drink on the windowsill. I set my boundaries finally, and they kept me safe.